champ of the mic owns the night. With a mind so slick and a suit so clean, he's running this ring like a wrestling machine. From gold-plated deals to jaw-dropping schemes, he's the mastermind of your wildest dreams. Stand up, take note, bow down if you can. It's the Brilliant Show with the Brilliant One. He's the man.
Welcome into the Brilliant Show. We got a very special guest. Krimsynn's coming on. Reggie Matthews going to talk a lot of wrestling. He's been in the business for over 20 years. We're going to tear the house down with him. But before we get to that, remember, if you can't watch us live, you can always check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Audible, and many, many more. Give us that 5-star rating, that 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Also, we're streaming live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitch as well. Helps out the podcast, helps us get out there and get things going. Also, check out Brainbuster Tees at brainbustertees.com. You'll see the Brilliant Show right there on the front page. Go get you a t-shirt or a hat. Support the podcast as well. Before we get into Krimsynn here and get ready and get started, I just want to say, man, I had a crazy weekend this weekend. I don't know if you saw the videos on my Facebook page. That's right. Make sure you hit the like button. But Friday night was Lost Art of Wrestling. Wes Warren retained the Lost Art of Wrestling Heavyweight Championship after I went up the ladder. Now, mind you, I'm afraid of heights. But I went up the ladder and I retrieved the belt from my client, Vladimir Koloff. But that sorry Wes Warren blasted me in the back and stole the belt. And then last night, Ray Fury curb stomped me into a birthday cake at the birthday beatdown in Biloxi for Combat Sports Pro. Rough weekend for the Brilliant One. But we're fixing to have some fun with Krimsynn. So let's go ahead and bring Krimsynn on in. Krimsynn, Reggie, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man.
Are you sure? Oh, wait, yeah. Are you sure? You had a rough double shot,
man? It was real rough. It was real rough. I mean, I'm still trying to recover right now, but
I bet.
But hey, I had to recover because look who I got on my podcast this Sunday night.
Hey, baby, it's all good.
The Brilliant Show has showed up and showed out. Let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
Just to get it started with, just a little start. What actually got you into wrestling? Did you grow up wrestling fan, or how did that happen?
Actually, I love this story, man, because it's dear to my heart. My mom and dad. So my parents are where I consider real young. My mom, my dad is 64, my mom 63. I'm 45. So back in the day, 1984, going down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to Mid-South on Tuesday nights, man. Even if it was a school night, my mom and dad were diehard wrestling fans, and they took their only son. So we 3 deep going. It wasn't the River Center like it is now. It was just a Centroplex back then. And we go see Junkyard Dog, Ted DiBiase, Stagger Lee, if you remember those days, Scandal Akbar, Missing Link, Kamala, One Man Gang, and Tony Atlas. And dude, I fell in love with it as a kid, man. And they would ask, in class all through school, which one of you when you grew up, I would say a wrestler. I didn't start kind of changing that tune to a more shoot job until I got to be like a teenager. But prior to that, yeah, I've always wanted to be a wrestler and be involved in it somehow. So lifelong fan.
So you talking about Ted DiBiase, you talking about Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog, one of the most over guys to ever come through the Superdome and come through Mid-South wrestling.
Yes.
Did you ever get to talk to him one-on-one?
No. Dude, I wish I had brought him. So my parents have some close-up pictures of him, like within touching distance from those shows back then.
Yeah.
The wrestlers I actually got a chance to meet back then was DiBiase, Mr. Wrestling 3, Kamala, and Tony Atlas. And I was at that time I was probably right. I was probably 5 or 6 at the time. But I got a chance to meet those. I didn't get a chance to meet Junkyard Dog, but I did get a chance to see him perform, which I never forget. You know,
I got to see him live once, I believe.
really,
Yes,
yeah, awesome, man.
time.
I just those memories of Mid South back then, man, and the way the crowd was, just the atmosphere, you know, the dark arena, the spotlight right in the center of the ring. It's hard to replicate.
Yeah, it's that old grungy Southern style wrestling that just, you know, you can't relive those days. And like JYD, Ted DiBiase, even Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yep.
I mean, at Kamala, One Man Gang was a big guy back then. I mean, you know, he was a big time then. And all these guys signed with WWE or WWF at the time because of Mid-South, because of Memphis.
Exactly. They made the bones of Mid-South.
Yeah. And so it really grew from there. And I mean, just getting to attend those type of shows going back to that era, man, that's like the golden age. That's like one of my favorite periods in wrestling. I still go back and watch a lot of the territory shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got a fan, Brian Ockman, who's brought me DVDs, just, I mean, piles of them. And I sit there and watch them all the time. And it is great. Oh, hold on. Let's do it. The Boyd Pierce suits. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Shawn Michaels. Yeah, Shawn Michaels was in that era as well. He was just getting started really back then.
Yeah. It was just a good time, man.
Yeah, it really wasn't like they were packing buildings, and then Vince McMahon come along and took it mainstream. But
changed the game.
He did. He changed it for sure. I mean, whether you want to say good or bad, I think more eyes got on professional wrestling.
I agree with that.
I wouldn't say. So I would say it was kind of good and kind of bad, because the good part is everybody got to see it. The bad part is that it kind of killed the territory to where you could enjoy it live in those big arenas each and every week, because they hit those towns every week.
I'm telling you, man, it was constant, man. You know, when you talk to a lot of the older guys on the scene that's around my age or older, we all experience the same thing. We all share very similar stories about how we got into it, who we watched, who we liked, and who we cheered for, who we booed. You know, from that Mid-South era, man.
Oh, yes. It's incredible. Let me ask you this, though. So when did you decide, all right, I'm going to give this a shot? And how did you find your way in? Like, what training did you do, and how did that happen?
All right. So in 99, I'm going to college at USM in Hattiesburg. And I made friends with Wes Adams back in the year prior in 98 at Southwest Community College. So that's where we met. But we ended up at USM at the same time. He was actually working in the cafeteria in my dorm. And I bumped into him. He said, hey, man, I'm training to be a wrestler. And I was like, dude, quit lying. Because at the time, I didn't know indie wrestling existed. I only knew Mid-South. And well, at this point, WWF, WCW, ECW. That's all I knew, right?
Right.
And I just didn't know the indie wrestling, because where I lived in Mississippi, indie wrestling didn't really come around, right? So anyway, he tells me to say, no, really, I'm training to wrestle in Laurel. I was like, okay, take me with you. So the next night when he gets ready to go to training, I drive him up to Laurel. And guess who I saw when I got there, bro?
Who's that?
Calvin Rose, Money Warbucks, Ryan Hodge.
Wow.
Yeah. So they had already been, by this point, they were probably in the business maybe 2 years or maybe even a year. And I started learning from them, actually, at that time. And so that was 99, and I didn't start having my first match to around the next year, around 2000. And did a lot of shows with them. I started off as a referee, though, you know, working my way through as I was training. And just went on from there, man. But I started in under those guys and Still hanging with him to this day.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we had Monty on the show not long ago. Need to get Calvin on here.
You
I think
do.
Calvin did. I think
You
Calvin
do.
did King of Wrestling podcast back in the day. And Ryan. I mean, they're all still going at it strong. Monty. I always looked at Monty as one of the greatest minds in the independent wrestling scene around here. I've always enjoyed his stuff. So, who was your actual trainer, or do you want to say?
No. When I started on those guys, Wes and I were both learning from them, and then I guess over the next couple of years, I graduated college. So I moved back home. Wes decided to stay, so he kept doing shows in the area, Harrisburg area, and moving on. Once I moved back home, I was done with wrestling at the time. I would pop back to Harrisburg to ref a match or jump in a battle royal or something like that, right? And then Wes had found a building in Hattiesburg to do some consistent training. So I trained under him fully. Him and I'm sure you know the name Mike Thrash / Dan Delicious.
Oh yeah.
And he helped me out a lot too. So all my training I said would come from those two guys, and with a whole lot of knowledge and help from Monty and Calvin as well.
Yeah, man, Monty and Calvin. I love just picking their brain and talking to them. You started out wrestling. Because the independent scene was a lot different back then.
Yes.
So tell me some of the places you worked and some of the memorable moments you had at those times.
Oh man! All right. There's a group in Columbia, MCW, that did shows at the Columbia Water Park, where we did a lot of shows at back then, and then I cannot remember the name of Ryan Hodges' daddy's promotion. Did a lot of shows with them, and if I'm remembering right, Monty and Kevin had their own promotion too, XCW. That we did shows around Hattiesburg and Richland. This was early 2000s, early mid 2000s. During that time, and I was just still cutting my teeth at that time. We did a lot of shows around Waynesboro for several groups. As we moved on toward 06, 07, around that time, I started doing a lot of shows in Florida, in Chipley, AWF Chipley, back then. And they would do shows in Chipley, Florida, every other weekend. And if you remember 2007, man, that's when gas was like $4 a gallon. So we were going broke to achieve the dream, but we achieved the dream. That was the goal back then. So like we're talking pre-show about going, getting home 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. I was coming home at 6 in the morning on those Florida shows.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So I live in Liberty, Mississippi. All right. So it's an hour and a half to Hattiesburg. I would drive to Hattiesburg. I had a 4-door truck. I would pick up 3 other workers, and then we would shoot to Florida. By the time we get over there, the times change because they're an hour ahead. So we do the show, go to Waffle House. That's another hour and a half, 2 hours sitting there talking after the show. Then we drive back to Hattiesburg. I would drop them off, then drive home. And that was every other Saturday. That was every other Saturday for 2 years. Like 07, 08, man. That was my only spot at the time. Because during that time, if I remember right, I think Kelvin and Money were working around UWF in Pensacola. I know they were doing a lot of shows in Florida too at that point. And Wes had moved on to WWE at that point, and I was doing shows in Florida.
Wow. And we're going to get into talking about Wes for a second here in a minute. But first, Stephen Dixon's got something. Did you watch Southeastern Championship Wrestling back then too? The Fullers, Bob Armstrong, and Norville Austin.
I did not watch Southeastern, but I love Bob Armstrong. One of my favorites.
Who don't like Bob? Who don't like Bob? And then Stephen also has, how long have you been wrestling?
25 years now. So he started officially in 2000. Trained in 99, started officially in 2000. So it makes it easy to keep up with. 2025. So 25 years. Yeah.
That's a real easy number right there.
Oh yeah.
So Wes Adams went to WWE. What year did he go? 2008 and 9?
2000. He was there 2006 to 2008. He was there 2 years.
Wow. 2
Yeah,
years
because
in the big show.
Yeah, because I drove him. So he got the tryout match at Lafayette. So I was dating a girl at Lafayette at the time. So I would be down on the weekends anyway. And he had sent his tapes in, and they gave him the call. They were gonna be in the area. You know how they make the loop. So he met me. I was already in Lafayette. He met me there for Raw that Monday. Did a tryout match with Big Daddy V.
Oh, this right.
Yeah, it was a squash match on Sunday Night Heat. So he did that, and that went well. So then this was the ECW was on Sci-Fi on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So they were going to be in Mobile for ECW taping and SmackDown. You know, they used to tape them back to back. So we can do ECW SmackDown in Mobile the next night. So he drove back to Hattiesburg, and then went to Mobile the next day. Then he did a squash match with Marcus Coban. And then
that's a name I ain't heard in a while either.
Yeah, right. And so they offered him a referee contract right after that.
And then he was there for 2 years.
2 years, yep.
Man, all right, because I know you and him talked about it, so I gotta get in the inside. What was it like being kind of like a referee in WWE at the time, like travel wise and all that? And was it really worth it?
But so I would say this: it was worth it. And I'm speaking for him, but I think it would have been worth it. Was worth it for him because of the knowledge he gained. So when he got signed, they still have to deal with OVW for training in Kentucky, but they also had Deep South too. He got assigned to Deep South, and then when they decide to part ways with Deep South and OVW to form FCW. Remember, they went to Tampa first before the Orlando thing, right? So when they go to Tampa, listen who's there. Fandango, Bella Twins, Kofi, and Sheamus were all there at the same time when he was there, right? So he got a chance to train with all those guys and learn a lot. And that's knowledge you just can't beat, because all those guys I just mentioned are big names now. And we finally got called up. I know he did a couple of loops overseas. He did a couple of pay-per-views. While he wasn't able to do anything on WrestleMania, he was able to still be there, participate in all the festivities. So that was good, and it allowed me a chance to rub some shoulders too whenever I was in town, which was great.
Man, that is awesome. I mean, you can't beat it. You can.
No.
There's something you can't take away. You were signed, whatever kind of contract you were signed.
Right.
That's a goal. That's a milestone.
Go. And this is the thing, bro. And I know I'm jumping, but this is so weird how they view things up there. Well, at least at the time, I say that. And like I said, I'm jumping, but in 2014, I got a chance to go WWE for 4 days as an extra. This was Adam Rose was doing the Rosebud thing, right? And so me, Wes, Nate Moss from the Daybreakers.
Yeah.
Wes's wife, Kristen, and we had another young lady with us because they needed certain people, a certain amount of people for 2 house shows. They were doing Jackson, Mississippi that Saturday. So, and then they were doing Lake Charles, Louisiana on Sunday, and then Monday Night Raw in Lafayette in the Cajun Dome, and then on Tuesday they want to be in Biloxi at the Coliseum for SmackDown. So we go and we do the Rosebud thing on the house show, which was great because on the house show they don't need as many rosebuds. They only needed us 5, right? And Wes got a chance to be in the bunny suit and do the bunny spot. Who did he work? Adam Rose worked Damian Sandow on the house show loop. So we did, like I said, did Jackson, left, came home, got up the next day, met in Macomb, drove all the way to Lake Charles, and pretty much did the same exact matches, same everything, right? For the second house show. Then left Lake Charles, drove all the way to Lafayette, got a hotel, got up, did Raw the next day. So while we're there, and this is what I'm getting to about what they're looking for. So we're there. We don't know if we're going to do trial matches. We don't know because they didn't talk about it. So at this point, now when we show up at Raw, the Wildcat guys are also there with us at the time. And we got good history with Wildcat too. We can talk about that later if you want. Okay. But so we're there with them, and we're all going to catering. And then Arn Anderson comes, hey, we need all the extras out to the ring. So we all come out, and Arn walks up. He looks at me because I'm a heavier set guy. Hey, son, you ever done a pull apart? Yes, sir. Okay, we're gonna do a pull apart tonight with Brock and Cena. Oh my God. You know, so everybody's all hyped. You know, nobody's showing that emotion because we're in front of Arn. But everybody in there, you can tell everybody in the mind, like, oh yeah, right? So we go on with the rest of the day. You know, I'm trying to call everybody, know, make sure you watch Raw tonight. Make sure you watch Raw tonight. You know how that goes. And so we get a chance. So we're back there watching it. This leads to another funny story. So you know how backstage they'll show the vignettes with the wrestlers watching the monitors, just sitting down in a row of chairs.
Yeah,
it's really like that. So we all standing up back there watching, and we got our security shirts on, right? We all back there watching, and Nate Moss is standing next to me, and we hear some crunching going on behind, really behind Nate, but the guy's crunching so loud, it's almost annoying, right? So me and Nate, we look at each other. You know, we hadn't turned around yet. They're really smacking and crunching really loud in Nate's ear. And we turn around, it's Brock Lesnar. Crunching Raisin Bran. You know the small boxes of Raisin Bran? He's like popping Raisin Bran, just crunching in Nate's ear. And it's almost like he was doing it on purpose. But who are we to judge, right? Who are we to judge what Brock Lesnar's doing? So we promptly turned around the other way and kept watching the monitor. I mean, it's not like Nate was going to say, "Hey, Brock, can you stop crunching?"
Exactly.
Right?
He liked living too much.
Yeah, right. Also that day, I'm just thinking funny things, crazy things that day. We had to they did physicals with us at the doctor that day. So I met the Usos like on first, you know, like shake your hands. They were coming out from the doctor. I was going to go in and get my physical. Met Roman that way too. Also, right after that, when I got done, I come out and Cena's standing there, and he looks at me. He says, "Massage the rapist." And I said, "What? Massage the rapist?" I said, "What?" Because you know it's John Cena for one, and then two, massage the rapist. And then he points, and I turn around. There's a paper sign above where I'm standing says massage therapist. So he was ribbing on me by saying massage the rapist. I'm like, oh man. And then he just looked at me, laughed, and kept walking. But he knew I was an extra. He knew he could mess with me. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, to fast forward on to that night. So they pull us in to talk about with Gorilla right before it's time to go out and do the thing with Cena and Brock. So Arn comes and talks to us first. So at Gorilla, it's at this point, I guess during commercial break, it was Brock and Paul Heyman were right at Gorilla. We are maybe 15 feet away, the Wildcat guys and me, Wes, and Nate Moss. And Arn says, whatever you do during the pull apart, you pull Cena off of Brock. Do not, I repeat, do not touch Brock Lesnar. Whatever you do. no matter how they roll around, do not touch Brock Lesnar. So of course we took that as gospel because he didn't go into detail like, is Brock gonna kill us if we touch him? Is he gonna really lay? He didn't say, and we didn't ask, right? So after Arn walks off, Cena comes up. Hey, how you doing? Does everybody know how to bump? Everybody nods their head. He said, don't effing hurt me, and I won't effing hurt you. That was it. He said, see you out there.
Was you nervous before you went out? That's what Steven Dixon said.
I was, man. I was. Because
by the way, hey Jacob, how are you tonight? We're doing great.
Doing good, Jacob. How you doing, man?
Hillbilly says you're the newest member of the Dean's List. We'll get to that. But
Hillbilly, don't come on, man. You breaking up story time talking about Hillbilly beat me. He went over. He got me. He got me. But hey, I put a whipping on him. He knows I did. He may have gotten a 1, 2, 3, but I beat him down. It's not over here, Billy. We'll see each other again. Messing up story time. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So yes, I was nervous, man. Our big super shows are 700, 800. That's our thing. Not 10,000 in the Cajun Dome. So running out, you're trying to run out and focus on what you're doing, coming down the ramp because we security folks try to we come down to break it up, but you trying to not look at the crowd. You hear the crowd. You see it's crazy. And I was fortunate enough to get a friend of mine took a screenshot of me and Cena during that pull apart right after. I was lucky enough to get that, and I use it as my Facebook profile pic sometime, But it was a good night, man. I went home on a high after that.
I bet you did. You was on cloud nine. I mean, you was just in there with two bona fide legends and John Cena and Lesnar. And while we're on that subject, real quick, I want to get you because me and you've talked before, and you've answered some of my stuff on my Facebook and stuff like that. But I want to get this. What's your thoughts on Cena? Like, here's my thing, and a lot of people are gonna. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a Cena fan. I'm just pointing out facts here. Okay.
Yeah. I
like Cena. I'm not saying I don't, but the thing is like you had Hogan in the '80s. That was your mega star. That's the guy that drew the money in the '80s.
Yep.
You had Austin, Rock, Triple H and them in the '90s, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, all of them in the '90s. And then in the 2000s, I'd say around 2008 when it really, or 2007, 2008 when it really kicked up.
Yeah.
So you look at that, you had Cena from there on until recently, and now he's back for his last run. But Cena was the mega star. Cena was the one selling the merchandise. He was the one selling tickets. What's your overall thoughts on Cena?
I think at the time, especially during the spinning belt era, it was the right move for the company because it really kept the momentum going that they had. They were pushing more toward that PG type thing, and he was the right person for it, and it worked. They made so much money, so many shirts, so much merch, right, and turned him into a bona fide star. But I think I know for a lot of older fans, it got to be. You remember the chance? Oh, it's Super Cena because he wasn't losing, and it starts to get old. I mean, for like we talked about it, for people that watch wrestling a lot, you certain things start to get stale for us, right?
Yep.
The younger crowd, they won't notice it as much. So I think with this heel turn, I think it probably came 10 years too late.
Oh, it did. Well, it's like Romans.
Yeah.
Because I think Romans got over more, but I'm just saying that.
Yeah, because
that heel turn was late.
But see, that's the thing, though. You said Roman got over more because he wasn't as a super face as long as Cena was before they decided to make the change. There were several opportunities I would Well, I'm sure there had to be more than several that they probably could have did a slow burn and then did a turn. They chose not to because money talks.
Yep.
As long as kids buying those action figures, shirts and hats, wristbands, we're doing it. And money rules, man. They gonna go with whatever's the hot hand. That's what they're going with.
Oh yeah.
Is
And
that
I think right now I think you were right with the heel turn. It was just a little too late, but I mean, 10 years too late. But it's just like this is the last run. I want to
Yeah.
see how it ends. I want to see
Yeah.
because I really think we hear wrestlers talk all the time. I want to retire, and you can't. Wrestlers don't retire.
Never.
But I really think when Cena leaves this, I think that is it. I don't think he's coming back.
I can see that happening. I think now that he's doing so many movies, similar to like what it was with The Rock, he may make a pop in every now and then if it makes sense and the money's right. Or if the movie business getting slow, come in, do a couple of matches here and there, and make a good payday. Those pay-per-view checks are good, man.
Oh yeah, I bet they are. Bet they are. Matt Clark says he remembers the shows in Shipley.
Yeah, man. Every other weekend.
And then let's see here. Stephen Dixon has this say, what are some of your highlights over the last 25 years in wrestling?
I would say the shows we've done at Southwest, which you were a part of, were good. Highlights.
Oh, they were not good. They were amazing. I mean, like we're talking 1,000 people. Like you said, that was the mecca of the independent scene. I remember the night that Doc Gracie super kicked me off the apron, and all I could hear was the people cheering.
Yeah.
It was so loud because when I got kicked in the face, they were ready for me to get kicked. And
yeah.
It was just that was an amazing night.
Well, the WWE stuff for sure highlights. Man, we would do there's another SWA group down in Crispi, Florida, run by Heath Childs. He does shows maybe once a year, and they call it the WrestleMania of the Gulf Coast. I was on several of those shows, dude. At the time, those were the biggest crowds I'd been in front of back then, and man, shows were always hot, always a good group of dudes. Man.
Well, Jason Soul says that Heidelberg Academy shows had to be a highlight.
All right. I'll tell you about. Okay. All right. So the reason why. Yeah, it was a highlight because I had to work my butt off to be a face there. You know why? So we found out we're going to do the show at Heidelberg Academy. I know Money was there, working there. I think Calvin was too. So you know what state we live in, man.
Oh yeah.
So when soon as we pull up, what do I see on the front of the school? Big Confederate flag. As soon as I pull up, and I was like, man, what have they got me into? So when I come out through the curtain, you can imagine the looks on the students' faces, right? And Money and Kevin was like, man, if you can get over here, you can get over anywhere. It was a good look. We had fun though, man. We had fun. I had them cheering me by the end of the match, but it was fun. They didn't know what to make of me at first, man.
That's a good one, and I know where Heidelberg Academy's at. This is a good topic. This happened today, and I don't necessarily. He wasn't released necessarily. His contract came to an end. There's a difference there. They just didn't renew his contract. But R-Truth, no longer in WWE after God, man, he's been there for
forever.
This last run, I know it's been over 16 years or so.
Yeah.
And then he had a run before that in WWE. So he's been around WWE forever.
Yep.
R-Truth's a national treasure. He's great. So what's your thoughts on this?
I don't see why you would not renew it. I mean, being that he's been hot lately. Now, if he had been wasn't being used, I know everything comes down to a bottom line, and not to knock anybody else on their roster, but we know they have a huge roster. We know that between all three shows. We know there's a ton of other people that's not getting any TV time at all, as compared to he was on TV every week.
Yeah.
and the fans love him. So if he was a cost cutting measure, I get it. But I mean, if he was a cost cutting measure, then I expect to see more coming down the line pretty soon.
Well, I do expect more to come down, but my thing is this: like with R-Truth, is like there has to be something else behind it. Like maybe he didn't want it renewed, and because he's always been hinting at stuff. And I see this is my thing. He's been hinting at stuff a lot with family stuff.
Yeah,
and he's always on the road,
right?
So that could have been some of it, but then again, R-Truth is he's hilarious. He's just very entertaining, and if he is released and he's going to go work somewhere, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't show up in TNA.
Yeah, he had a nice run there too. So
no, he didn't have a nice run. He had a legendary run in TNA that time, and that was like at the start of TNA. He was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Yep.
Ron the Truth Killings, baby. And speaking of Wildcat, let's go ahead and do this. Ron Killings wrestled Altar Boy Luke Hawks out in XPW in California. What's your thoughts on Wildcat and Luke?
So I got a good relationship with Luke and Wildcat, man. So back when Wildcat started, you remember Wildcat started with Luke and Orlando Jordan. They were training down there. Their first shows for their trainees were at Power Slam with me and Wes at our shows up here in Macomb. We didn't do necessarily joint shows, but Luke would bring his students up and they would get to work matches up here prior to them started running their own shows. And we did that for I think 2 years. At the start, and even one of our largest shows that we ran at Power Slam, we ran a show called Tylertown Throwdown.
What's up, Nick Wonder? Nick Wonder says, "Hey, Reggie."
Oh, what's up, Nick? That's my dude, man. Look, you can still go to Power Slam's YouTube page. Nick Wonder has a match in there. I think probably several tens of thousands of views on one of his matches from back in the day on there. Back in the day.
We're gonna talk about Nick Wonder here in just a minute.
But Wildcat, man, we had Orlando Jordan on that show. We had Gangrel and Paul Bear on that show in Tylertown. And we was able to get Orlando Jordan and Gangrel because of Luke in those ties,
Well, Luke's got a lot of connections, not just in wrestling. It's like I was talking with Steve Anthony the other night. He's got connections in the film and entertainment industry too. Yes. He's been around it all. So yeah, Luke does have that.
And that's another thing, man. So many of us, even on our SWA roster, we all got a lot of film experience, getting a chance to work movies and things. And it all came from, and I've got my share. I got an IMDb, but it all came from wrestling. Wrestling has given myself and so many other guys a wealth of opportunities of movie, TV, film, acting, stunt work, you name it. We kind of all over the place. We're not just wrestlers.
I was looking, speaking of IMDb.com, I was looking on that the other day. A fan sent me this. You remember my podcast, King of Wrestling Podcast, right?
Yeah, I do.
Did you know that it's on IMDb.com?
Is it good, man?
I did not even realize that. Like somebody sent it to me, and I'm like, I thought it was a joke. And then I went on IMDb.com, typed in King of Wrestling Podcast, and there it is, pops up. I'm like, how about that's that? And doing film. Let's talk about that for a second. Talking about film work. I've done some filming as well. It's crazy when you're there to film a 2-minute scene, and you're there for 15 hours.
Yeah,
and doing that. What's it been like when you're on a set? Because we've all been on different sets, because no movie set is the same as the other. They're all different ways it goes.
Yeah. I remember. So you remember the movie with Stallone and Jason Momoa, Bullet to the Head?
Yeah.
All right. So Luke worked stunts on that, but I worked on it as a police officer extra. So I got contracted for 8 days. And it was throughout the summer in New Orleans, so you can only imagine how miserable that was, because we did a lot of outside stuff, and it was hot, and mosquitoes were biting. Well, you know, you from the South, man. You know how it go. So
yeah, they look more like birds, but they call them
yeah,
mosquitoes.
but those were long days, but it was worth it to be around Momoa and Stallone and get a chance to learn. I think the director was the guy that directed the Warriors. Clax film, the Warriors movie.
Yeah, back in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the director. I got a chance to meet him and talk with him some too. I did Young and the Restless in New Orleans, and that was a 4-hour shoot for one scene I had. I did stunts on a movie called The Pawn Shop Chronicles. Shot that in Plaquemine, Louisiana. With Brendan Fraser. Not that one. Yeah, that was Pawn Shop Chronicles. Man, I can't. So many movies, man. We did a lot. Doc Gracie.
I filmed with one of them that you're talking about here.
Who was that?
Stallone.
Stallone? Yeah. Oh, I did Escape Plan too down there.
Yeah. So I mean, and Stallone's a wrestling fan too, by the way.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
You know. Now, when I was on the set, we wasn't allowed to talk to them unless they talked to us. In certain spots, but I got to talk to some pretty good ones on that one.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, man. Like you see some of those celebrities are, they don't talk to you. Period. They do the scene, they out. Nicolas Cage is one. I remember they drove him in. This was on the set of Stolen. They drove him in. We were doing Mardi Gras doing a Mardi Gras scene. We were on Canal filming. They drove him down the middle of Canal in a black SUV. He cut out. He got on the float. He did the scene. Got back in the SUV and pulled it off, man. Just like that. Done. And then you got other actors and actresses that will come and hang around. So remember the WWE movie, one of the first ones, The Chaperone with Triple H?
Yep.
I'm in that as an extra as the cop. Luke is in there too doing stunts.
Because they did those. That was back when the fad of filming all them films in New Orleans at the time. Edge had a movie.
Yep, I was doing that one too.
Yeah.
I did that one, and then Big Show had one down there too, but I wasn't on that.
Knuckleheads, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Chaperone, I was on that one. I worked on it 2 days in New Orleans as a police officer. I got typecast as a police officer, man, when my film career started. I just had to look up a cop, I guess. But I was either playing a detective or a police officer in uniform.
Man, you do get typecast on them things. Yeah. Did you ever get in the ring with Sabu at all?
No, I did not.
Did you ever meet Sabu?
I did not. I hate to say the closest thing I got to ECW. I got 2 quick stories about ECW. They came back on my birthday. They were doing a show in Baton Rouge at the Great Hall, which I hate. It was a great building, no longer exists now. But I met Spike Dudley and Roadkill at Hooters, and they gave me some free tickets to the show. That was the closest I got to ECW, the old school ECW. Outside of the WWE version, which I got a chance to be around that when Wes was working there.
So Sabu, man, he passed away. I think I got to see him twice in person. Now, saw him on TV, but I got to see him twice in person. And I want to say one time was with ECW one time, because we did go to an ECW show. And I can't remember if it was WCW that I saw him in. I think it was WCW back in the 90s when he Nitro had come to like Tupelo or something. Hold on. Let's see this one. Didn't you play a serial killer on A&E?
I did. That show is actually on Amazon Prime now. No, Pluto. So it's on Pluto TV. Now, so those crime reenactment shows?
Yeah.
So I was on one called It Takes a Killer. The episode was called The Poughkeepsie Predator. It's on my IMDb, but I was to play the starring role as Kendall Francois. Guy killed like 7-8 prostitutes up in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Yep, I remember that story. I remember seeing a couple of things on it. I had to go check it out. What was the name of that again?
It Takes a Killer.
It Takes a Killer. To see, look, I love some true crime. I just got through watching this one. It was on Netflix.
Yeah.
It was about this woman's husband. Like he gets beat. Her father beats him in the head with a bat, and they call it self-defense. And it goes to this whole. Dude, that was so twisted. I don't even know what the truth is. I don't even know if you'll ever on that thing.
Hey, look, you gotta watch how much of that you put in your system, man.
I don't watch enough of it. I ain't got time to watch TV, man.
Hey, cleanse your palate, bro. Watch the wrestling, man. Cleanse your palate.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got Stephen Dixon there. You got that one. Hay Balding one. Reggie is the man. Paul Riles.
That's my guy there, man. That's my guy. Me and Paul got a lot in common, man. I keep up with Paul. I love what he's doing with LAW, man.
Oh,
book me, Paul. Book me. But
LAW is one of the top.
I love what he's doing over there. I love what he's doing over there, man. He gets it from the ground up, doing great things.
Oh, there was almost 300 there the other night, if not 300. Paul's doing a great job. Love Paul to death. Will do whatever he wants me to do because I enjoy when he has shows, and I think a lot of Paul. We got Brian Ashmore, Krimsynn, to this day, one of the only men alive to have actually seen John Cena.
Look, me and Brian go back to our teenage days, man. Like I think I met Brian when I was like 19. He was maybe 15, something like that, man. We childhood friends, man. Good dude.
That's awesome.
His only drawback, though, he's an Ole Miss fan. That's his only drawback. Only negative. He's Ole Miss fan.
Who roots for Ole Miss?
Dalton Delk and Brian Ashmore. Only two people I can think of.
Dalton Delk?
Oh, you don't know who that is? Oh,
no.
Okay.
Never heard of Dalton.
Okay.
That's a shame. Feel bad for that guy if he likes Ole Miss. But I mean, because there's only really one team in college football, and that's Roll Tide, baby.
See, come on, man. Man, you know what? We still cool though. We still cool.
Yeah. Let me guess. You got to be a Tiger, huh?
Yeah, man. Look, I grew up too close to Baton Rouge, man. Look, Brandon, I take so much heat. Hey, Jason, he knows. Look,
I know.
I took so much flack as a Mississippi boy being a Tiger fan, but I grew up on the border. I didn't grow up going to Jackson to Hattiesburg or watching WBLT Channel 3. All right, all I knew was WBRZ and WAFB Channel, LSU and Baton Rouge. That's all I knew growing up. So
they messed up.
They
messed up LSU anyway. Right? They can't spell down there in Louisiana. It was supposed to be LSP, the Louisiana State Penitentiary, but they had to change the university. I don't even know how they got university. Most of the people in Louisiana don't even know how to spell university. But
hey!
Now,
I tell you what.
My dad played baseball at LSU for real, and so I know that feeling. But I'm gonna be. You know how many teeth to be up. See, I knew he was going to cover that. It was always the teeth jokes with us, man. When y'all were doing the recruiting, see, y'all were always getting people out of Angola, man. Y'all had the advantage down there. Like, look, I'll go ahead and give you an example.
Okay.
What was that kid's name that played for the Bengals, that played for LSU? Jeremy, was it Jeremy Hill?
The running back?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. That sounds about right.
That's it, Frankie Thomas, another one. Great talent. I think it was Jeremy Hill. He was committed to Alabama, and then he got in him some legal trouble, and the judge, put him on probation. He couldn't leave the state of Louisiana, so he could only play for either Louisiana Tech or LSU. Which one you gonna play for?
Play with the Tigers. No choice.
So
the choice is made for you. But look,
the toothbrush was invented in Alabama. Anywhere it would be. All right, man. All right.
but Brandon, seriously though, like although I'm a Tiger fan, I got personal ties to it now, man. My first cousin's son is a sophomore on the team. There now, he was the number one defensive tackle in Louisiana coming out of high school last year. He was a freshman there at LSU last year. He's a sophomore this year. Donald McKinley, number 96. So I gotta support him regardless. But it's always been Go Tigers since I was a little boy, man. I support USM too, though.
Yeah, see, I've always been Roll Tide since the day I was born, and main reason is my dad did play baseball at LSU.
Yeah,
but he also played baseball at Alabama too.
Okay.
So, back then that's mainly everybody always says when you say you're an Alabama fan, the first thing, and Jason's probably gonna say this here in just a second, is you're a bandwagon. I can remember when Andrew Zhao was our quarterback and I couldn't stand him. I can remember when Gene Stallings was there and I wanted Gene Stallings to stay and they pushed him out and we got Dubose, who was the worst coach on.
I remember that. I do remember that. But I mean, this is the thing though. You know why people say bandwagoning for Alabama fans? I know we're getting off topic, off wrestling, but I have
Man, I'm gonna tell you, he just see that. That's why he's so great. He can just come up with this stuff. It's just great.
And money can attest to this. But we've seen, put like as outsiders, we've seen people that were not even remotely Alabama fans when they were on their run when Saban was there. Automatic, we Roll Tide. Like, dude, you was cheering for Florida Gators last week, and you
Alabama.
And all of a but we've actually seen that, and not saying that people don't do that, but I don't see it happening with other teams as much as we see it with Alabama.
Well, you want me to tell you a story? I'll tell you a quick funny story. I used to play poker for a living, and dude, I was playing at the tables one night, and this dude comes all decked out with an Alabama hat, with Alabama blazer on. I mean, he had all kinds of stuff. He was just Alabama decked out.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him like, man, this dude he's just rooting for Alabama just to root for Alabama, right? And I look at him and I'm just like, man, what you think? He's like, we're doing great this year. We're going to win the national championship. I think this was 2012, 13, somewhere around there. Anyway, I said, yeah, we're doing great. I said, but man, he's like, Saban's great. I was like, yeah. I said, but he's not as good as the Bear. And he looked at me and he said, who's the Bear?
Oh.
When he didn't know who the Bear was.
Oh.
And you're an Alabama fan, you don't know who Bear Bryant is?
See, that's what I'm saying, man. Like I said, we see that so much. We, like I said, as outsiders, though, we see all these other people yelling Roll Tide. Like, Facebook is full of people like, you've never been talking about Alabama.
Look at this one. Good thing about Bama is if your parents get a divorce, you can still hang out with your cousins at the crib. You're right. There's no joke there. I always say this. Like, most of them, their mom and their sister are the same person, so.
Yeah, right.
You can't choose your family either way on that one. But the thing is, like, with sports, down here in the South, SEC, that's king.
Yep.
All right. We take our football serious. We take all sports serious. We're going to root the SEC team through anything.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
No doubt. That's the one thing about the pride down here is it's not just the SEC. Let's put it that way. It's football in general.
Yes. Football is king.
Yep. So now I want to jump into something here because Jason's going to keep coming up with these. Here it is. The fans who hate Bama the most are Auburn fans. That is true there. You're not lying. Like, look, and you know what? The only people that root for Auburn are the ones that graduated from there because they're the only ones that know where it's at.
You know what? You got a point, though. I don't know any Auburn fans other than people that went to school there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. 99% of Bama fans can't find Tuscaloosa on the map or the. Oh my God! Oh my gosh! Oh, I love it. Hold on. Here's Miss Kimberly. The fans who hate Bama the most are Auburn fans. That is true. That is true. But LSU fans are pretty. I would say over the last 15 years, LSU's hated Alabama a little bit more than Auburn has.
Yeah, the
'Cause,
rivalry's been strong. I agree. I can kind of agree with that.
I mean, Alabama and LSU's always had a strong rivalry, but I think when Saban got through in the mix
Oh yeah,
in those years,
that changed it up a little bit.
it
I agree.
amplified it.
I agree.
I was at that 2007, and we're going to get to something else in just a second. I know we're off topic. We're talking about everything, but I was at the 2007 game when Jacob Hester was there,
Yeah.
Matt Flynn, and I remember I think we had Javier Arenas, and he took a punt back, and we went ahead like in the third quarter or something. I was sitting in the end zone, and Javier Arenas come in, took the punt, brought it into the end zone. I was sitting here, oh, we're gonna beat them, and then that was bad. That was a tough LSU team. Now I know everybody's gonna say that Joe Burrow's year was the best, but you got to give 2007. I mean, look at what they competed against.
Yep.
You had Tebow. You had all kinds of. I mean, it was just talent everywhere in the SEC at that time.
Yep, it was.
And
I agree.
That 2017 was a tough team. Let's see here. Brian says, bro, Jason got to have a big book of Bama jokes or something. No, he's making these jokes up. He wrote them himself. He's got a whole book of Bama jokes.
Brian, you don't know Jason like I do, man. He freestyling those jokes, man.
Alabama women are so fat, the back of their necks look like a. Oh my gosh, this is great. But now I want to get back to wrestling. We've been talking about football. We talk about everything. That's the thing about the Brilliant Show is it's a variety. Yeah. You're not going to get just straight wrestling. You're going to get off the cuff talks, and we have fun with that.
So what do we leave off? The WWE thing, I think. Yeah. So I talked about Raw with the pull apart. So we did that. So we hit the road. Like I said, we leave. So we leave Lafayette that night. We drive from Lafayette all the way back to Hattiesburg. What's up, Newt?
Hey, I need to get one more before you get any further. Yeah. We need to get one more like. We got 13 likes on here. We need to get over 13 likes. Come on. You know how I hate being on 13 likes. Hit it up.
Yeah.
Continue, Richard.
So we drop from Lafayette all the way back to Hattiesburg. I sleep at my in-laws' house. I'm loading the companies down there. So we get up the next day and we head down to Biloxi, right, for SmackDown. So we get there SmackDown and we go over what we're doing with Adam Rose again. So this time, since we're doing actual TV, we got the whole squad of us and Wildcat crew there to be Rosebuds. And so we all got our costume, our crazy costumes and everything, and did our thing, man. And it was a good experience. We also got that day, Brandon got a chance to do some trial matches, man. For Johnny Ace was there. Who else was out there? Bray Wyatt, Big Show.
You just said the name. You just said the name, Bray. Bring that up. What was it like seeing him in person? And dude, his passing was so shocking.
Dude, so I worked Nate Moss in our match, and Wes refereed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after me, what's the guy's name? Oh, so Jay Spade, that's what Wildcat still now. Him and Kurt Matthews, they worked the match right after us. But once we were done, they talked to us for a little bit, and then Bray came up to us like, hey, great job, you guys, and good luck in your careers. So he was really the only guy that came up and talked to us after the matches were done, which was cool.
He seemed like a down-to-earth guy anyway.
He was, man, and a lot of guys were. Triple H was out there. Arn Anderson, Triple H, Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph had been on the whole loop with us anyway, so we had been talking to him since since Saturday already anyway. But he was out there, Bray Wyatt, Big Show. There was several others just sitting out, watching it and hanging out while we're doing our thing. The first thing and we've been in a 20-foot ring before, but when you there, you're in the ring, it's a whole nother ball game. You know, when you're sitting there thinking about, oh man, I'm actually in here now. But it was a good time, man. I never forget it. I put it that way.
Man, that is awesome. Isaac Housley, the brilliant stink. Okay. The greatest stinky manager in wrestling since you're with Vladimir Koloff. Now I'll give you a break. Hey, yeah, I got the greatest client in the world. Reggie, let me ask you this because we got another one from Isaac here. What's your thoughts on Vladimir? And I mean, you've seen Vladimir when he was 400 pounds, and you see him what he's looking like now.
So, all right. So check this out. So it's funny you mentioned that very comment. So I worked for 225 Wrestling last summer, right? And we've only met once. He and I only met once prior to that, which was years ago when he was 400 pounds. So he walked up and he didn't remember me, and I didn't quite remember him either because he looked totally different.
Yeah.
And he said, "Have we met?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." I said, "Yeah." Then I said, "Yeah, man. You worked for SWA at the show. However many years ago it was." He said, "Oh, that's probably back when I weighed 400 pounds." His exact that was his exact comment. No, he put the work in, man. He put the work in and did what he needed to do. So
yeah, he really has put the work in. I mean, he has transformed in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, I might get heat for saying this, but SWA should give Reg a shot at Barry for the SWA Heavyweight Championship. I don't see why not. I mean, you and Barry, look, I'll say this. Barry, I've always had the utmost respect for Barry, enjoy Barry, one of my favorites.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, Barry's gave me a lot of advice, and I listen anytime he gives me advice. But I would definitely love to see you and Barry go at it. What's your thoughts on Barry as well? And then I want to get to something that me and you as a part of it. Go ahead and get it with Barry first.
No, dude, Barry, he is what's the key word here? In my PhD class, we always talk about keywords. Keyword is consistent. Consistent. As long as I've known him, beat the odds and consistent and good every single time. Even the times when he doesn't think he's done well, he's actually done well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's always looking to get better and perfect his craft. And he's what you want your promotion champion to be. And I've wrestled Barry several times over the years, man. I think the first time I wrestled him was probably back in 2016 or so, early on the SWA. But man, all matches always knocked down good with me and him, brawls. Whenever somebody found, oh, you wrestle, the first match I showed them is a match with me and Barry. When they want to see one, that's the first match I show them every time. Every time. There's a reason for
that. What's the reason? Because it's that good?
He's just that good, man.
Yeah, I agree. Isaac, I'm going to get to your question in just a second, but I got to ask Barry something. Like, Barry, here I am calling you Barry Wolf now. Reggie.
Yo.
You remember when I was managing Delicious Van Vicious, right?
Yep.
And Van had a match with you one night.
Yep.
And you cheated us out of the victory that night. You kept trying to cheat and pull out a chain and all this.
That's what happened, huh?
I'm just messing, but I
think you got hit head too many times last night.
I thought we had. I did. But I thought we had a fun night that night,
yeah.
And Van is he's very talented and got a great look and everything. I just remember that night. Was it South Jones?
No, it wasn't South Jones. What's the joint? I think it was West Jones.
West Jones.
I think it was West Jones.
Yeah. No, it wasn't South Jones. It was Northeast Jones.
Northeast Jones. Yeah, it was Northeast Jones.
It was at Northeast Jones.
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember, with the green. Yeah.
Yeah. Question for Reggie. What's the biggest piece of advice for a guy who's wrestling to wanting to make it in wrestling or transition from cameraman to wrestling? Isaac, I know you ain't fixing to try to get in the ring, are you? Please don't tell me
Well,
that.
I say this: if you've been the cameraman, you had the best seat in the house.
Exactly.
So you've seen what to do and what not to do. And knowing you, Isaac, you've been around long enough. You've heard what's been said amongst the workers. So you definitely know what to do and what not to do. I mean, like I said, you have to be. I mean, you've seen it all. But like I said about Barry, stay consistent with the good habits, eliminate the bad habits. And Money will always say this too. Now, I'm taking this from him. Extenuate your strengths. Cover
Well,
your
look at
weaknesses.
what Nick Wonder has to say here.
It really hasn't. Now that I think about it, it really hasn't.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when I saw that, I was like, "Are you sure?" And
Yeah. No,
now I'm starting to think about it. I really have never seen it.
we
That
have.
would be a good match.
Yeah.
That would be a good match.
And look, I'm just being honest. My bump car getting full. We have to make that happen, y'all. I'm currently right now, Brandon, on the HWA roster. I'm the oldest active wrestler on the active roster right now at 45.
Yeah, because I forgot Calvin Rose is not wrestling. I forgot he's not active.
So
I was gonna say, Calvin Rose got them all beat, but what's Calvin now? 90?
no, don't do my boy like that now.
I'm just messing, Calvin.
Yeah.
Don't beat me up. I was just messing. I'm joking. I had to throw a little out there.
And he'll do it.
Now I know Calvin ain't one of these types, so I'm not putting this in Calvin's way. But I have said some things on this podcast about some people, and made them cry.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But I do have one message for you. If you're in professional wrestling, you got to have thick skin.
You do.
So,
I tell a quick story about that. And I won't. So once again, talking about where we are in the South, and being a black wrestler, you can hear some things, and
especially in the places we go.
Yeah. So now, granted, I'm not just trying to make this a racial thing, but all wrestlers hear some things from the crowd. We've seen knives, we've seen guns over the years, we've seen it all. But I have endured some bad words,
some racial slurs,
that won't repeat on air in Alabama and in Mississippi, and heard it in Tennessee, heard it in Florida. I hadn't wrestled in Louisiana enough to hear it, but I'm sure I would have heard it there too. And in the amount of times it's happened, it hadn't been a lot, thank God. But you got to have thick skin, because everybody.
Well, here's the thing too. And I didn't mean to interrupt you on that. I'm sorry, but the thing is, with like that, with the small towns that we do wrestle in, they're not cultured. They don't, their mindset, they're simple.
Yeah,
they're narrow-minded,
and you got to understand too. Everybody, regardless, everybody is not going to like you.
No.
Period. So
I mean, I've been called some very derogatory.
That's what I'm saying. And the way I look at it, especially depending on my role that night, you just made my job easier. Oh, you hate me already as soon as I come through the curtain for this reason? That's why you hate me already? Oh, man. It's gonna be an easy night.
Well, it does. It makes it easier. And that's like me when they come out and they start calling me all the names that they call me, and I'm just sitting here laughing because honestly, the way I look at it is I separate myself from what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you can call me anything under the sun. I don't care what it is. It's not going to affect me, because at the end of the night, when I go home, it doesn't affect my personal life. And what's up? What's up, Humpty Dumpty?
What's up, Sam? So look, I'm gonna tell you what I told a lady one time. She called me out my name. She called me several names. I said, lady, you paid to get in here. And went back. Hey, it went back to my arm bar. Okay. I looked over the ropes, said, lady, you paid to get in here. So, when you tell them that, they think about it like, oh, yeah, I guess I did. You paid to see us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's, man, when I look at it, I tell guys all the time, because they let the littlest thing that a fan says or something to them get to them, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, is that not what you expected? Because if you're a public figure, if you're out there,
Yeah.
not everybody's going to like you.
They're not.
You're going to get called all kinds of things, whether it be in a wrestling ring or if
Yep.
you're just if I'm doing this, people are going to, call me names and say whatever. And
Yep. I agree.
it's not effective. But that's what I got to. I want to get to something else.
Yeah.
Promoting.
Mm.
I want you to tell me, because we both promoted.
Yep.
We both know the stress. We both know everything that is behind it.
Yes.
What year was your first promoted, when you first promoted the show? And because I know you did a lot with Power Slam, you did a lot with other stuff. Just enlighten the listeners and stuff on that.
First was 2008. Power Slam started officially in 2008. If once West got let go, because West ended up getting fired from WWE, and he came back home, and we sat down and talked and bought a ring together. That's when it started, 2008, and we lasted 10 years. We slowed down a lot at the end, but we lasted 10 years. Like the first, I'll say the first 7, we were consistently doing stuff all the time. Then, family and life kind of interferes at that point.
Well, we was talking about that before we went on air.
Well, I mean, you think about it, and all promoters know this, and wrestlers know, and to a degree, all wrestlers do too. You got to make a choice. How much do you want to give? And how much do you still want to be in the business? You can still have one foot in and one foot out to a degree, And it got to the point for me, where it's like I really just work. I'm tired of promoting, and I stopped promoting. But it does take a toll. Yeah, you can make decent money at it, and you can also lose a lot of money too. And we know every show is a toss up. You may draw a good crowd in July and draw nothing in August.
Because nothing's guaranteed in wrestling.
Sure. It is not. It is not. There's so many variables.
And sometimes it don't matter how much you promote it, how much you go out and put up flyers. It may just not be that month.
It may not be that month. It may not be that time.
Yeah.
It really just depends. But when you do find a good spot, don't beat it to death either. It's still a balance.
Mm-hmm.
You still can't be there all the time. You got to go away for a little bit, make them want more, and then you bring it back. But don't be going too long.
Exactly. You can't, if you got that momentum,
right?
Don't take too long of a break.
Right. That's one thing. I know I keep bragging about SWA, but I got to, because that's where I'm at most of the time right now. That's one thing that they have going for them right now. It's consistency, and they got the momentum. So you ride that wave, and they have a good formula of what they're doing right now, and it's working. So it's hard to go against that,
It really is. You recognize that name?
Byron Jude Herbert. Who is that?
I'm not mistaken.
Why you say it like that, man?
No, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's half-breed. I'm not mistaken. But here we go with Dixon. Do you have a copy of your payout sheets?
No.
All right. I don't know. It's a joke. All right. So we got our hands on a payout sheet that a wrestler had wrote down in his notebook.
Yeah.
And apparently, he He sent his pay sheet to somebody, and I showed it on the show.
Hold on, he's paid for what he paid the boys.
No, what he got paid out.
Oh, what he got paid. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. He a worker. No, I don't keep a copy of that.
Yeah.
What I do, but listen, but going back to the advice for wrestlers, I do have a spreadsheet of all my matches
How you do?
that I could put like that I could remember.
Yeah.
Because I started keeping track of it a
So
little
you
later.
only have 2 matches on there?
No, I got
I
probably got 100 and something, the last 100 and so matches I have on there. But a lot of early stuff I don't have because I legit don't remember. I can remember some, but not all. But I have on there who I worked, where the show was, what the promotion was, whether I was heel or face, whether it was a title match, whether it was main event, little notes like that, whether it was tag, things like that. And then you go back and look at that, and you can kind of see how your career has progressed. And like, oh, I wrestled 20 times last year. The year before that, I only wrestled 10. You know, it's just cool to go back and look at that type of stuff and just reflect. I'm sure you're familiar with Brian Falcon Minotaur from back in the day. He put me on that game years ago about recording the matches.
I was talking to him today, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, that's my dude, man.
Yeah.
But he put me on that game. Matter of fact, that WrestleMania at the Gulf Coast show we did, I think this was back in 2007. He told me about doing that. Who was it? Bullet Bob was on that show, and Brad Armstrong was on that show with us.
Now, there's your name right there, Brad Armstrong, one of the most talented.
Yeah.
The only thing he was missing was charisma, like in front of the camera. Well, the thing is like people talked about how funny and how his charisma was going through when the cameras wasn't on, but they just couldn't capture it on the camera. Right. And but one of the greatest workers of all time.
Oh yeah, he's so good.
Nobody touched Brad.
Yep, so good, man, so good.
He really was. Before we get to this, keep hitting them like buttons. We went from, literally went from 13 likes to 19 in 1 second. So let's bump it up a little bit more. Out of all your matches, who were some of your favorites and least favorites to match up with?
Favorites, we mentioned Barry. One of my more recent matches against Hillbilly and against Sam Richards were great. Loved it. Man, wrestling against Jason Souls Money was good. And I only worked against Money once, y'all. Once. It was a triple threat. I don't know if he remembers it or not. It's in Richton. Me, Money War Bucks, and Lucas Frost. Triple threat match for SWA. But least favorite, man. I had a couple of matches in Chip that I wasn't too fond of, but I won't out who they were against.
Yeah, you ain't got to put that, but
I'm always take the high road, bro.
Let me look here because I'm looking at something. I'm getting some other questions here on the YouTube that's not coming through.
Yeah.
On here, but they're popping up on my phone. So I was trying to get them to pop up whenever. Before we get to that next question, I'm gonna get this. Nick Wonder says I started one when I came back in 2017. Matches, show, opponent, a short description, pay, crowd size, Inc. 100 matches since 2017. Congratulations on that, Wonder. Great deal on that. All right, so I got a couple questions that's on the Facebook. I'm not Facebook. We're on Facebook. Yeah. On the YouTube that's come across. Yeah. One, it doesn't say the name on it. I guess that's why it didn't pop up on us anonymous. But it says, what's your thoughts on Brett Ian Landry?
Good dude. Met Brett back in Wildcat. 2011, 2012.
You know, you don't have to talk good about scumbags. You know that.
No, met him back then. And He was announcing then for Wildcat, and then he started announcing all the Power Slam stuff too. And then he left Wildcat. Then I bumped into him again when Elevate Pro and SWA did a joint show. He was working with Elevate, I think, for a little bit then, and bumped into him then. And then last talked to him last summer at that 225 show I told you about, where I saw Call Off that.
Yeah. I can't stand that little bastard. Excuse my French on that one, but I can't stand him. He, he's running the GCW into the ground, and I'm not trying to campaign for the job, but I think I could help.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is that you can do it better. Is that what I'm hearing?
I know I can do it better. I'm saying I know I can do it better because I am.
Like the conference, bro.
I went out. I wanted to make an appearance at the Mississippi Rumble this year. Just come out, say hey to all my fans, and I did. I come out and I said hey to everybody.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, if there was a spot open in the Mississippi Rumble, Brett was in the ring. I was trying to, let him know that the people wanted to see me. Right. And I just told him that if there was, I would have been in the Rumble and I would have won it if there was a spot open, but there wasn't. And I don't know what Brett did, but for some reason he grabs the mic from me and he says, well, you want to be in the Rumble, huh? I'm like, no, you're full. But if I was in the Rumble, I'd win it.
Right.
Well, he puts me in the Rumble.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, what are you doing? I told you, I know it's full. You ain't got to make a special spot. I'm not trying to take a spot from somebody. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think you and him can hash that out in the ring? Just curious.
Oh, yeah, we can. As a matter of fact, something, eventually I'm going to run into him in the dark alley. Because, see, what he did was he messed with my psyche that night. See, I could have won that Mississippi Rumble, no problem.
Right.
I could have went in there, threw everybody out, went on my business. Here's what happened. He messed with my psyche. So when he told me that I was in the Rumble, even though I had not prepared, I just found out that night. Like I had 30 minutes to prepare to be in the Rumble. Okay.
Short amount of time.
Yeah. So I didn't have the weeks in advance to get ready and get prepared. So
no
I go out there
and Yeah. No ring prep. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. So I went out there and I get in the ring. I had to walk around it a couple times, make a few laps, try to get a little exercise in. And then I get in the ring and Kimber Fox she twists my nipples, chops me, picks me up by my beard and throws me out of the ring. And I'm like, and somebody said, you're eliminated. And I said, I didn't get in the ring good. What happened? But yeah, that's my thoughts on Brett. We got another question here from, I don't know how Hillbilly, I want to know this because you've been in the ring with him. Let's see. I will say I have my utmost respect for Reggie, but don't agree on what he's done here in the last few. Oh, Reggie's been doing great things the last few. Here's the thing I want to understand. Hillbilly Joe lives in Buzzard Roost, Mississippi, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. HBU, Hillbilly University.
There ain't no way they got internet down there.
No, and it's a population of 5.
Yeah, and ain't got no running water. So how is he putting these things through on like Facebook and stuff?
I think he got Starlink internet.
You think he can afford Starlink? Have you seen his clothes?
Well, yeah, but all this money going to Starlink, man. I'm telling you. How else you think Hillbilly University is running? I'm gonna start Crimson Tech.
Oh, so he's doing like a Ponzi scheme or something, huh?
I'm gonna start Crimson Tech University.
Crimson Tech would be great, but Hillbilly University that's like a Ponzi scheme. I think Hillbilly University is. All right, so we talked a little bit about promoting. I want to stress, like, to somebody that's thinking, "Oh, I can run a wrestling show. I can do this. I can do that." I want you to just kind of go through the preps. We both know what it's took, and I'll just say this: it's the hardest, most thankless job on the planet.
Yeah.
But it's gratifying when you pull it off. But just give people a little bit of insight on doing that promoting.
I mean, to start, how much money do I have to spend to start first? After that, and this is for most promoters, we need some sponsors. All right.
Sponsors are king. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you got to do legwork to get the sponsors. You got to make those phone calls to go to those businesses. And everybody doesn't like wrestling like you do. They don't. Everybody doesn't see the value.
Half of them don't even know what it is, and you'll say Hulk
Right.
Hogan, then they know what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't see the value in it. Because it's commonplace. Oh, it's a blank high school football program. Get the little ad for the new football school year. That's constant. They know that's coming every year, and they know why. But when you come up for a wrestling show twice out the year, the first time because you come to a new town, it's going to be hard to convince them if they're not already a wrestling fan or interested. So now you got to make that pitch. You got to cut that promo on that business to get them to hopefully give you a few dollars of cash.
Yep.
All right. Okay, now you might have some extra money now. Do I have a ring already? Okay, do you? Okay, well, what if you don't have one? Oh, now I got to rent a ring from somebody. That's at least $200. Back in the day, it was $200. I'm sure it's more than that now.
It's up now. It's up.
That's what I'm saying. You feel me? So, can I rent the ring and you bring another worker? You work him for a cut rate.
Yeah.
Concessions. Depending on where you're at, where you're doing the show at. If you're doing the show completely on your own, not partnering with a school or organization, you got to have concessions. There goes some of the money you just pull from your sponsors right there, or either out of your pocket. You don't want to spend money out of your pocket if you don't have to. All right. Okay. Well, how many matches are we going to have? 5, 6, or 7? 5 matches. So that's at least 10 guys. Oh, I need reps too. I got to pay everybody. Can I afford that? Oh, more. And your money's the money is steady subtracted before the show starts. Because trust me, when the bell rings, you better have your wrestlers' money. You better have that money, right?
Well, here's the thing too. Like, let's put it this way. Now, when you're booking a show, and you're going through it, you're like, okay, so how much are you? So how much are you? Okay. And you don't realize it.
Yep.
But every time you're booking somebody, you're thinking, all right, that's only so much. Not forgetting, you got all these other people that's already on your show, and that money is added up. So at the moment, you're not thinking all that, until it comes time.
But once again, if you hadn't partnered with a school or some club or organization, you got to rent you a building. A lot of people don't think about that part. That's $400 or $500, and that's a minimum, depending on where you're at.
I was going to say that's the minimum.
What if they don't have chairs? Now you got to rent chairs. I'm just thinking, these are the random things that, depending on where you are going.
This is what a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah,
like they think, oh well, you get the chair. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Right.
Depending on where you're at. Oh, this building's nice. Yeah, but do you know how much it costs?
Yep. And people don't factor that in.
And do you know how nerve-wracking you got to be when that show, all right, when 6 o'clock rolls around and you see 2 people come in the building?
Yep.
And you're like, oh, it just opened. The doors just opened. Only 2 people came in. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What's tonight going to be like?
Yep. But look, just going back to the hiring process. Okay, let's say you got 14 guys. You got some singles matches in a tag match or 2. Who's running the other operations? Because you more than likely you can be busy backstage. Who's taking them tickets? Who's selling merch? Who's selling the concessions that I just spent the hundreds of dollars on? Right? Who's ringing the bell? Who's my announcer? These people got to get paid. Now you might get some volunteers that love wrestling and want to be around it to do a few things, but you can't count on that all the time. I mean, if you have to partner with a school or organization, do so, because that takes a good chunk of it out. Because a lot of times they can handle the concessions if you do a ticket split with them or however you negotiate on the funds and the gate. But you have to factor all of that in, especially if you're trying to run a show on your own. It is not for the faint of heart. But now, if you got some good sponsors, and you've been promoting, and you got a town that's really loving wrestling, and you know people coming, you'll be okay. But you can't guarantee that, especially on the first go round in the town. The first time, you just don't know.
Nope,
just don't know. If you're doing pre-sale tickets, that can kind of give you a sign of what's to come. I know, SWA, the night at the end of a night of a current show, they've been pre-sold 100 and some tickets already for the next. So half the battle is won for SWA already on the financial side for us getting people paid and things like that. Now you do the rest on the back end and get it done. But there's so much you have to factor in. Like I said, with the ring, if you don't have your own ring, renting it, getting it transported. I mean, y'all got a ring, but you're gonna have to come get it. I gotta find a truck and a trailer. I drive a 4-door sedan.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I'm just saying, those are the things that a lot of times people just don't think about, and so much goes into it. And then the time.
You forgetting one of the other key factors too.
What's that?
Sound system, baby. Gotta have sound. Gotta have music.
The music. Okay, who's gonna play that music? You gotta pay them too, or you gotta rent the sound. If you hadn't bought your own sound system, which is thousands of dollars already, and then
either way,
it's a lot.
It's not cheap.
No, and then the time though. We talked about this prior pre-show. The time, promoters and whoever's really helping them, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That morning, the morning of the show, and it may be 2 or 3 hours away from where you are. Getting there, getting things set up, and make sure things are ready several hours ahead of time before the first worker gets there to come roll around the ring some. And then when the show is over, you got to clean up, put up, take down. That's at least 2 hours. If you got a small crew, you got a good crew, maybe an hour, but most of the time, it's still not the case. Who's putting all the chairs up? Who's loading the ring up? If you don't have a crew, it's a lot goes into it, man, and that wears you down over time. And nothing's worse than taking down the ring if you didn't draw that night. If you didn't have a successful show, that's the worst feeling in the world. So
it definitely is. Like. When I was running AWA and doing stuff with AWA and all that, I mean, we always had good nights. We had good crowds, and we had some fun. But man, I don't live nowhere near there.
Yeah,
I'm hours away. Let's see here. Hold on. Yeah, we got another question, but I'm hours away. So then you got to remember this: show gets done 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yep.
All the tear down. Then when you get done doing that, you got a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah, but look, okay, I'll give you a horror story that we had with Power Slam. So one of our good buddies that was a worker lived in Atlanta, and some kind
Mike
of way.
Winder, hold on just a second, Rick. Right. Mike Winder, I miss it too, man, and I met you a couple times, and I appreciate you, and hopefully you'll keep tuning into the Brilliant Show.
Yo.
All right, the horror story, because I love horror stories.
So the school reached out to him, and then he reached out to us about doing a show in Georgia. All right. So the show, it's on the other side of Atlanta. So we agreed to what we call a paid show. They was going to pay us X amount of dollars to come do the show. They were going to promote, do concessions, and they were going to keep the gate. All right. But we're getting guaranteed X amount of dollars to bring the ring and bring the wrestlers and do the show. So we were covered. All right. Only thing for us was getting over there. So the late, great Ted Allen A lot of you guys don't remember him from being a great ring maker, things like that, and worker. So we were going to he was going to meet us in Georgia with a ring, all right, which he did. And all the guys we had scheduled to be booked, we all left from Mississippi, driving all the way over there. Everybody that was coming from Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, wherever, meeting us over there. We get there, and remember, key word, we left the promotion up to them because they're over there, right? We're in Mississippi. We had 20 people at that show.
Woo!
20 people.
Woo!
20 people. And we got paid our X amount of dollars, which was pretty good. I mean, we got paid good. Okay. The guys got paid good. But the school lost their butts because they didn't promote.
Well, you want me to tell you a story like that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what school it was or what show it was. But I'll say this. Gave them 100 tickets and told them, you sell these tickets, that's your fundraiser. That's what you get off the fundraiser. You sell those tickets, you get that. The show I did had 800 people in the building.
Right.
You know how many tickets the school sold? Or the sports team or whatever you want to call it sold?
How many? Oh, my goodness.
So you're telling me I promoted the show. I did the show. We got 800 people in the building, but you could only sell one ticket?
Dude.
Now, that's not a horror story for me.
Horror story for them.
Because it was free money for them.
Look, and I can see that happening. Same thing with the school in Georgia. So I still remember this. We were doing the show at the former school that I used to work at. I forgot was it Relay for Life? I think it might be Relay for Life, but it was through the school, and they want to do a wrestling fundraiser show, and we had done one before, right? There was well attended. They made good money, so they're going to do another one. So because I worked at school, that K-12 school at the time, I print out the flyers and I put them in. I would take them to the schools, like just put them in the teacher's mailbox, have them given to each student. You can't beat that. Every student has a flyer, right? Dude, I took them to the high school, and this is what they said. Oh, they not gonna come. How you know they're not gonna come? Just give it to them. I didn't ask your opinion. So did they give out the flyers? They didn't give out the flyers. Now elementary passed out the flyers. So the night of the show, full of elementary parents, full of elementary kids. Hardly saw any high school people. But a lot of times that's the middleman that will cause the downfall. So I can see that happening. Whoever was interested with doing that job on the one with you to sell those tickets and get that information out there, they just didn't do it. They dropped the ball. You at least got to try.
Well, here's the thing. We live in a society now where if they don't believe in what you're selling, and you're basically what you're doing is you're giving them free money.
Yep.
All right. But they're too lazy to even promote it. Look, we just did a deal with my niece's volleyball team, raffle tickets. And you gave the parents, I think, 20 tickets to sell. And if they wanted more, they'd sell them. Well, my niece sold about 100 almost. Okay. Why? Well, first off, she's got the brilliant one is an uncle. That's already a given right there.
Right.
But you get out there and you promote it. You put it out there. That's all you got to do. And with Facebook, all you got to do is say, hey, we're doing a raffle for a $400 something. And you're like, for $5? Oh, yeah, I'm going to go get some tickets. That already does it. And then you talk to people at work because, used to, when we was kids, we had to sell them candy bars. Remember the candy bars in school?
World's finest chocolate.
Yep. World's finest chocolate. Go sell it. And I mean, I would walk up and down my neighborhood going,
Yep.
and most neighbors would support the kids. But we got
Yep.
out and went and did it. Our parents didn't say,
Yep. You got to
"Oh,
do
I'll
it.
take care of it." No, you get out there and do it. It's your stuff. People don't want to do that now. They're too spoiled. They're too entitled. They're all that.
I can think of instances I know, and I'm not like I said, because like I said, we're taking the high road. This company was doing a show in a town in Mississippi, and one of my best friends lives in that town. And I wanted to get on that show because my friend always wanted to see me wrestle live, right? But I wasn't able to get on it. You know, he just wanted to say, hey, can I get on the show? So I didn't bother. But she didn't even know the show was there. She lives in the town. That's like a promotion.
Yep.
You know? And I mean, and she drives, this is the thing, it's not like she was a hermit. She drives around the town. She goes to all the businesses all the time. She didn't even know the show was there. And it's not a huge city. We're talking about like an average Mississippi town. You have to put in the legwork. You have to try if you want to be successful in wrestling, period. Whether it's working, refereeing, promoting, managing.
Well, here's another thing too: is a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people put all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
they think, oh, all I got to do is promote it on Facebook. People will come.
Everybody do that.
Nope.
Everybody
we live in Mississippi. You know, I ran a show in Ocean Springs. People lived 10 miles away.
Yep.
And they would say, I've never even heard of this show until I went in this gas station and I saw a flyer.
Yep.
Flyers still work. Any way you can promote your show,
you do it.
You have to take every advertisement avenue you can take to ensure that your show is a success. If you do everything you can do, you will see results. I mean, it may not happen instantly, but you will see results. But you have to still put flyers and stuff out.
You do. Dude, the show we did, I think Newt Cox had made a comment down there about when I bled showing Macomb at the gym. That particular show was for a fundraiser for the Macomb High School band. So prior to us doing that fundraiser show for them, they used to sell roses. You could get like these roses they would do for fundraiser, and and fruit, roses and fruit, and they didn't do well. So we came to them in a meeting to pitch the show. We showed them like some clips and showed them like some success stories we had at other schools. First thing a parent, she raised her hand. Well, I don't like wrestling. Ma'am, it's not about whether you like wrestling or not. It's hundreds of other people out here in the area that love wrestling. She was willing to not do it because she didn't like wrestling. Those are the type of hurdles you have to be prepared to jump over when you trying to promote as well. And look, they made more that night on that show. We had Vordell Walker and Luke Hawks on that show.
Don't even say Vordell Walker's name. I love
it. But check this out. The significance of the day of that show, that was the day of Paul Bearer's funeral, was that day.
Wow.
It was that day because Wes, some of the other guys on our roster, they actually went to the funeral that morning. I stayed and got things ready as much as I could till the rest of the guys got back. But I still remember that being that day. But that school made several $1,000s that night. But you know what? They never did another one.
Now, you would think.
Right.
I look at it. I'm making money off this. Why wouldn't we give it another shot? Because the next year, if you'd have done the same thing, you'd have made the same amount or more. You would have continued.
Because of word of mouth. Because think about it. We talked about momentum with SWA and the momentum you were picking up when you were promoting. That word of mouth is something, man. When people start hearing, oh man, the wrestling show was so good. First thing, that person that's hearing it, oh man, I'm gonna go next time. And then when you come back in a few months, they're there. And then they go tell somebody, and you keep it rolling. And they just wouldn't do it in Macomb, at least with the band, they wouldn't do it. So I really think they missed out.
And that's crazy because a lot of these schools especially a lot of the public schools that are around here, cannot afford to even get uniforms for their players. The parents have to come out of pocket for that, and sometimes we're in an economy sometimes where you can't afford that,
Right.
and or depending on where you're at, and it's just like, why wouldn't you go out there and try to get free money?
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Like you have to, if, on the school side, you have to, or the band boosters, or the football boosters, whoever, you have to try. If what you were doing wasn't working or hasn't been working, let's try something different. If selling these candy bars isn't working, let's get rid. We spend all this money on whatever fundraiser we've tried before and it hasn't worked. But this school, 50 miles down the road, they did the rest of the show. It worked well for them. Let's try it here.
And you want to talk about schools and wrestling shows? That's what SWA prides themselves on.
Yeah.
You look at that. I mean, we're talking Jones County, Mississippi, which was one of the hotbeds for wrestling back in the day. Anyway,
Yep.
you know, you look at that area. You look at Jones County. You look at Laurel. You look at Meridian, where I live. We had hotbeds. And that is where, like, the Blue Yankee, Cowboy Bob Kelly, all of them made their names, like even Steve Starr.
Yep.
You know, I remember Steve Starr coming to
Yep.
Fairgrounds.
Yep.
That, you know, that was the hotbed. Those people down there are different fans. You got to understand something. You're not getting your smart mark fans.
Yep.
You are getting legit fans. And it's just it's a special area.
It is. I agree.
And those school shows, and I've done the school show that you put on, what's the college show, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Southwest SmackDown. One of the funnest experiences I ever had. And I was glad that you let me be a part of that. SWA let me be a part of that. I was very appreciative of that show. And
glad to have you, man. It was good.
Oh yeah, it was great. And then I've worked with SWA. You know, I trained with my start out training with Steve Starr and all that. But I've done stuff with SWA with Big Hoss and them, and nothing but great. You know, every show that I was on was a packed house, and it was fun to be around. And it's just a different atmosphere.
It is. It is, man. And dude, there's been times when I'm not even booked. I just come hang in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing better than a good, solid locker room to be in pro wrestling. Period. There's nothing like it. I can't stress that enough. Because you got a toxic locker room, man.
You're in trouble, yeah.
Yeah, you know, you one and done. Like, you shouldn't love wrestling enough to the point where you can stick around anything toxic. Unless you're making millions of dollars.
And that's
you know what I'm saying? You know, but for what we doing in the scene, I can't stress enough how good the locker room is at SWA, man.
I'll say this. I've been in SWA's locker room. Great locker room. There's no problems there. And that's what we pride ourselves on at AWA as well. Yep. We had a great, clean locker room. If you came in and tried to make any waves in that locker room,
hit the bricks. You hit the bricks. I mean, there's no time for it, man. And what goes on in the locker room, it starts to spill out to the ring too, in the performances. And you lose. One of the reasons why I had to stop promoting, you know. Once it's not right in the back, it won't be right in the front. That's the best way to put it.
Yep.
That doesn't really get talked about a lot. How about backstage politics and things or stuff like that, and that's fine. You don't have to talk about it, but you can tell how things are going based on the success of the show. A real successful show doesn't have a lot of drama stuff going on in the back. Period. Simple as that. I'm blessed to be a part of it, man, and still there. Like, it's just thinking. I'm sitting here now thinking about it, man. Like, dude, 25 years, man, and I'm still here, and to be part of a great locker room. It's not like I'm hey, can I work over here? And I'm just picking up scraps, anybody that'll take me. And I'm just in some toxic locker room just because I still want to work. You know, I feel good about being in a great place.
Agreed. We're about to start, closing it down. We've been going for almost 2 hours. We've talked everything from sports to movies to whatever. But I want to get into our rundown here on the end.
Yeah.
And let's start talking about your next appearance. When's your next show? Where can people find you on Facebook and or find you on social media? Period. If you have any social media.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook under Reggie Matthews. So Facebook.com/Krimsynn. Big Ramp.
We got to talk about this guy next. When you
get yeah, we definitely talk about Ramp. My story ain't not complete without him in there. On Instagram under Krimsynn, under Twitter under Krimsynn. My next appearance I'll be with SWA June 14th in Waynesboro, Mississippi. I'll be facing Hunter Rhodes.
Well, you're gonna take Hunter Rhodes out. I mean, he failed Jenny Craig 3 times.
Oh no, I did not know that. That's news to me.
He failed Jenny Craig. They tried to put him on Weight Watchers, and they said that they couldn't even find out what his weight was, so they just threw it out. They was like, yeah, you're not even accepted here. So that's on Hunter Rhodes there.
Okay. I relate that to him. No, much respect to Hunter though, man. He's done a lot in a short time. Big things for him coming down the road, I'm sure. Just done on the 14th.
Yeah, not on the 14th. I'm gonna say this. Big Ramp, baby. Big Ramp. Let's put it up. I'm gonna just say, before you get into your thing with Big Ramp, I love Ramp. I always enjoy seeing him. As a matter of fact, Ramp, we got to get you on this podcast because me and you got a lot of talking to do. Hadn't done it in a while, and we always have fun with it. But this guy right here is always giving me advice as well.
Yeah.
And always complimented me on stuff. And he's always hit me up. Oh, man, you're doing good, blah, 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 and just love the guy to death. And I'm always happy when I get to see Ramp in the locker room.
No
talk
doubt.
to him and just pick his brain. Not just about wrestling, but about anything.
Ramp and I go back before wrestling. Me and Ramp met on a movie set. Actually, a Lifetime movie about I think it's about Casey Anthony. We shot it, bro. We shot it. Look, we were shooting at Jefferson Parish Prison. We were shooting at. That's where I first met Ramp. And then we linked up again after he was with Wildcat, and Wildcat was coming up, teaming up with Power Slam for our Power Slam shows up here. But yeah, neither one of our stories are complete without each other.
Look at Ramp. We met in jail.
We met in jail, yeah. So, like the start of Big Ramp Enterprises, I was the original member. It was really just me and Ramp from the beginning. I was the original BRE guy. People tend to forget that these days because it's been so long. You know what I'm saying? It's what, 2014? No, before that, 2013, 2014, something like that. But Ramp is a good dude. Once again, another guy overcame the odds. People told him he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, and he did it, and did it well.
You can look at Ramp and tell he's entertaining. And he's just got that presence about him too.
Yeah, man. And just thinking back, and I had heard Ramp's music years before that, before I had actually even met him.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we linked up, he was my manager. We started the BRE thing. When he started the BRE thing, I was part of it, the first guy, and he kept branching out. And it's BRE is still a thing now. Not many factions last that long across multiple promotions. I still the music, the interest music I use now is the original BRE music. Still, I hadn't changed it. I still use it to this day. So the big ups to Ramp. It was always good working with him. Hope to do it again.
Man, yeah, Ramp's always been great work. I'm gonna bring up a couple more names that I know you've been around, and we'll just we'll get to them for real quick because we done talked about Barry, we talked about Brett, we talked about Ramp. let's talk about. We talked about Calvin and Monty.
Yep.
So let's get down to a couple. We talked about Wes already. We talked about Luke Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring up, the new management at SWA. Let's bring up Big Hoss.
Big Hoss. Big Hoss. Look, Hoss came in kind of quiet when he first started.
I ain't never heard him quiet, but okay.
Well, hey, I said when he first started. Keyword when he first started. He's loud and forceful now. But no, man. He took that ball and once he took over the company and built the momentum that's out of his world, man. The crowds doubled, the amount of shows doubles. Almost a show every month, sometimes twice a month, depending on what's going on. Before we were kind of doing every other month almost. Great work ethic. It reminds me, SW kind of reminds me of No Limit Records, man. Dropping out albums all the time, doing shows all the time with SWA, but they found that formula that works for our area. Nope, there you go. I see you, Ramp. He bring up to my Ghostbuster gimmick. Yeah, man, I still got all that on deck. I got a full size proton pack now too, baby. But yeah, man, Hoss, like I said, that formula they have with SWA, they know the right crowds. They know how to promote to them. They know how to book those shows for that crowd. And this is something that I teach when I'm being a professor in some of my classes that I teach at online sometimes. Know your audience. Know your audience. Now, that's the thing. What works down here in our area, SWA's area, may not work up north Mississippi. It may not even work in Mobile.
Exactly.
And when Mobile, what you were doing, your crew in your area may not work over here with SWA in that neck of the woods. So if you came over here and did a show, you may not draw.
Yep.
Because it's not SWA. It's a different product.
Yep.
So they know what works and they sticking to it. The formula hadn't changed. And when they do change something and it doesn't work, they go back to what works. So you can't go wrong with that, man. Can't go wrong.
Well, Reggie, man, thank you for coming on. We're gonna have to do this again. We got so much more to talk about. But
yeah, let me know, man.
Thank you for coming in on the show. Hang in there just a second if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. I'm good.
All right, brother. Well, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for coming on the British Show tonight. Remember, check out Brainbuster Tees. Get your merchandise. That's brainbustertees.com. Check it out. And also, if you can't watch us live, check us out on podcast platforms and listen in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, and Audible, and many, many more. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube as well. You can always watch them on there. It's at thebrilliantshow.com. We're live Sunday through Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That was Krimsynn, baby, and he enjoyed it. I enjoyed having him on. We're going to have him on again soon, and we got to get Ramp on as well. But we got Ray Fury tomorrow night. So come back. We're going to talk to Ray Fury tomorrow. We got Chris Chambers Tuesday. Wednesday, we got Kelly Clark. And Thursday, we got Brittany Williamson. She's coming on to talk about BIW this coming Saturday. So just tune in. We got a lot coming up this week. Thank you for joining us right here on The British Show. We'll see you soon.
Lights blaze bright, it's a glorious sight. The champ of the mic owns the night. With a mind so slick and a suit so clean, he's running this ring like a wrestling machine. From gold-plated deals to jaw-dropping schemes, he's the mastermind